Drink beer, it's good for you. I'm empty-handed and I'm feeling blue, and I'm gonna drink till the day that I die.
Hello and welcome to the video. In this video we have a true battle between two heavy hitters, both conical stainless steel fermenters that are available on the market right now. The two that I'm comparing here today are actually the heavyweights of their class. Both of these are high-end systems and very capable. But the main question remains, which is best for you? Let's have a look. The first of our fermenters is the Brewtech BREWMASTER 27 litre. And now we have the newcomer, which is made by Grainfather, which is their conical fermenter, which is 30 litres in capacity. First and foremost, let's have a look at their initial setup and how easy it is to get started with these. So when I got the Brewtech unit, I found that there was an awful lot in the box. And I guess that's to be expected with a system of this sort, but my God, I couldn't believe how many different pieces there were that I had to put together. This took the best part of an hour to actually set up. The instructions included were fairly brief, and I did find that I had this issue here with this latch that just wouldn't close. I got there in the end, but it wasn't exactly made easy for me. The initial setup of the Grainfather unit was a breeze in comparison. This is basically because everything is actually made pre-assembled and actually built into the unit already, and that really makes things a lot faster. So all you really have to do is add the dual valve tap and then attach the temperature controller. Very fast, very easy. It's very important to remember that both of these systems need to be given a thorough clean before you use them. There are all sorts of oils and residues left over from the manufacturing process, so if you don't want your beer to taste of metal and oil, then I would advise you clean them first. So now let's have a look at the features that these heavy-hitting, high-end units both boast. It is often said that temperature control is the most important part of any fermentation. And it's all well and good having a nice shiny looking fermenter, but if it's not going to do temperature control and do it well for you, then it's really missed the point. So let's have a look at how these units stack up against each other. Right out of the box, both of these units actually support cooling. You will, however, need glycol chillers from both of them, and they are obviously an extra cost, and the cost is about the same for either of them. The glaring difference between the two is that on the Brewtech unit, which is shown here, it uses a cooling spiral, whereas on the Grainfather unit there is actually a cooling sleeve actually built into the unit, and this is in this ring here that I'm showing now. Personally, I find this to be a more elegant solution and certainly much easier when it comes to cleaning at the end. When it comes to heating, the Brewtech unit does not have an element built in by standard, and to actually control the temperature you will need to buy the kit that you can see on the screen here. The orange part that you see in the photo is actually a heat pad that actually wraps around the cone of the conical fermenter to provide its heat. Whereas on the Grainfather Conical, the heating element is actually built into the unit by standard, and this is housed in the cavity as shown on the screen now. It's very nice to have a heating unit like this included by standard. It is important to realise though that without the temperature controller, when plugged in, this heater will continue to heat, and it will do so at approximately 1 degree Celsius per hour. So if you're fermenting in an area where you're going to need heating, you will need the temperature controller with this Grainfather Conical Fermenter. While we're on the subject of temperature controllers, let's have a look and see how the two units from the two separate companies compare. Let's start with the Brewtech unit that you can see on your screen right now. As you can see, this is an STC adopted unit that has pretty basic functionality. To change any of the values in here, you have to enter a code, which to me seems like a fairly user-unfriendly way of doing things. In all fairness to SS Brewtech, this is technology that they released a few years back, so it's certainly not very up to date. Grainfather, on the other hand, have seized the moment and used the opportunity to upgrade controllers very well. As is demonstrated in this picture, you can see a lot of information on the screen at one time, and this is something that I particularly appreciate. What I appreciate even more though is the ability to set schedules, and this basically means that you could potentially go on holiday and let the controller do all of the different steps for you, including things like cold crashing and lagering. Very handy. Okay, so now let's address that very important topic when it comes to fermentation, and that is temperature stability. The reason this topic is so important for those that aren't aware is that yeast thrives in a very stable temperature environment. This is why breweries actually invest a great deal of money in this regard. So here are the two systems side by side. You can see that the SS Brewtech unit has a cover on it which is made of neoprene, and this is because it has a single skin of stainless steel. The Grainfather Conical Fermenter, on the other hand, scores big points because it doesn't need a neoprene cover. It is actually dual skin, so you actually have double the amount of stainless steel, and sandwiched in the middle of these two skins is insulation. Because of this fundamental difference in my testing, the Grainfather Conical held temperatures for a huge amount more time compared to the SS Brewtech unit. This of course was no great surprise when you consider the difference in design. Alright, let's move on now, and I'm now going to look at the tap systems that feature on both of these units. It's fair to say that both of these systems will allow you to do the same thing via taps. Both of them allow you to take samples so that you can check your gravity during fermentation. You can also yeast dump and also reculture from these units. On top of that, you can also add the beer when it's finished into bottles or directly into a keg, and you can do this above the sediment line, so that's very nice. The taps that are available on these systems are inherently different though, and I'll show you the differences now. So looking at the SS Brewtech first, you can see that this system uses butterfly valves. There are two of these in total on the unit. It takes a bit of effort to open these, to be fair with you, as you can see the little struggle I'm having here. I ended up having to hold the unit to be able to open it, otherwise the unit was literally sliding on my table. It's also worth mentioning that these do not come complete, as you can see. There are various additions that you can buy for these depending on what you intend to use them for, and these are all available at extra cost from SS Brewtech. The third and final tap on this system is actually used for sampling, and you can see the end has a barb there that allows you to connect some silicone to, which is pretty handy. Another stark contrast here is that the Grainfather system just has one tap. This single tap actually has two valves. Because of this, it actually replaces all of the three taps that you have on the SS Brewtech unit, but it's only one tap. Now, I know I keep mentioning this, but it's a really great piece of technology that we have here. And this is certainly the first time that it's been available in not only home brewing, but commercial brewing too. This is how you would yeast dump or also reculture your yeast. Very easy valve to use too. And from this portion you can do your bottling and also your sampling. These are both designed so that you can add silicone tubing to both ends, and actually on the bottling end I've actually added a bottling wand as well, which makes things an awful lot easier when you're not filling into a keg. Alright, so we've had a good look at these systems now, but what do they cost? First, a quick disclaimer. The prices I am using in this video were checked in July 2017 and were from retailers in Norway, and then converted into euros for easy comparison. please check retail prices in your local area to guide you fully. So here are the retail prices that I found for the SS Brewtech BREWMASTER. I could not find any package deals at all, everything was itemised. Whereas for the Grainfather Conical, everything was just in packages. But then hey, it's just the bottom line that we're interested in anyway, I guess. So let's look at the prices without the glycol now, and you can see here that there's quite a large difference in these figures. €427 to be precise, in the Grainfather Conical Fermenter's favour. If we then add the glycol, thus giving us the full package, the difference now is €502 apart, again obviously in the Grainfather Conical Fermenter's favour. Right, so let's look at how we can conclude this. When all is said and done, everyone is going to have their own opinion on which one of these two is going to suit them best. Personally, I did look at the SS Brewtech unit when it first came out and I didn't buy it, whereas I do own the Grainfather Conical Fermenter. So I guess that gives you my view on this. For me, the fact that this will hold temperature extremely well is the most important concern. Even if the Grainfather Conical Fermenter was more expensive than the SS Brewtech, which clearly it's not, then I would still choose the Grainfather unit over the other for this reason alone. In addition to this, as I've highlighted in this video, the Grainfather Conical Fermenter has other advantages. Personally, I really love the idea that I only have one tap that needs to be cleaned rather than three. I also find the profiles that you have in the temperature controller to be extremely useful. It's fair to say that both of these units are well made and are of good quality. I just can't help but feel that the SS Brewtech unit is old technology. It was released 3 years ago and it's still being sold today. I think Grainfather has proved that things have certainly moved on. Well, there you have it. That's my view on the matter. Please feel free to share yours on the YouTube video comments. I do hope that you all enjoyed this video. I've tried as best as I can to keep to the facts, and then I've given some opinion at the same time. I guess that's what you get when you see a review. So if you did like this video, then please do go ahead and like it on YouTube. This really helps me out and allows the videos to be seen by a wider audience on YouTube. I've got a lot of videos in the pipeline for the future, so if you're interested in seeing what I've got coming up, then please subscribe for future content. If you have any questions on anything that I've covered in this video or in others, or anything to do with brewing in general, then please do not hesitate to get in touch. I'm more than happy to help. Until then, happy brewing!